Hello and welcome to the Michigan Business Network, everyone. So we are videotaping live from the Michigan Lean Consortium's 7th annual conference here in beautiful Traverse City. So with me on my left is Mr. Ray Muscat. So Ray, you are from the University of Michigan, the Tauber Institute for Global Operations. Thank you very much for your sponsorship.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
So tell us a little bit about what the Tauber Institute does.
The Tauber Institute is an institute focused on preparing graduate students from both the Ross School of Business and the College of Engineering for operational leadership opportunities. So what we do is we are an overlay program that enhances their graduate degree programs with specific coursework, training modules, and a 14.5-week internship at a major corporation that is both paid and graded as real life experience for them in preparation for their careers.
Excellent, and I'm fortunate enough to be an advisor for some of those projects, and they really are amazing. It's a good opportunity for the students. So tell us why you decided to sponsor the Michigan Lean Consortium conference.
Well, the Michigan Lean Consortium advocates and facilitates the kind of learning that we at the Tauber Institute are really fond of, and that is to work directly with corporations and other organizations to foster a willingness to share, a willingness to experience, and to create an environment where best practices can be shared amongst all. And we at the Institute work with our industry sponsors to do the same thing with our students as well as across our industry advisory board.
So it sounds like a good fit, and we really appreciate that support. So tell our listeners and our viewers a little bit about your life before academia. So you're now, of course, at the University of Michigan, which we just talked about, but you had a very interesting role and a very responsible role before academia. So tell our listeners and viewers about that.
Well, I've been with the Tauber Institute for over a year and a half or so. But before then, I spent 23.5 years at Herman Miller with roles in operations and engineering. And one of those roles was to help bring forward the Toyota production system, or the Herman Miller performance system, throughout our corporation, starting in the late 90s and going right through 2015 or so. And before then, I spent time in the defense electronics business at Raytheon, at Ball Aerospace, in the aerospace business in Colorado, and then started my career in the automotive industry at Ford Motor Company.
So you've been around a lot in a good way. And so what if you were to sort of write a paper about your view of where lean is headed in our country or even in the world, what would you say?
Well, I think where we're at today is we're gaining a better appreciation for the cultural implications of lean transformation.
Cultural meaning ethnic culture or organizational culture?
Organizational culture. And that is that we are now fairly conversant in all the tools, fairly conversant in all the methods. But we're starting to address the people-centered issues, the issues about creating cultural change inside an organization to foster that day-to-day problem-solving culture.
And isn't that the most difficult part?
Without a doubt. And it starts at the top. It starts with a intimate commitment from the top level leadership to not only support but also participate in the cultural change, and then it goes throughout the organization at that point in terms of reinforcing and creating systems that reinforce cultural challenge of the existing situation.
Cultural challenge of the current situation. So a lot of leaders aren't going to want to deal with that. Don't challenge me. I'm the CEO. I'm the COO. I'm the CIO, and I was promoted into this position because of what I know and what I've done. So how do you change their mindsets or their perspectives in order to see the light that this really could be a game changer for their organization?
Well, you know, when I mentioned the notion of top-down commitment, that commitment comes with the requirement to be open to learning. And so you've got to be open to hearing from the organization what their challenges are. You need to be open to hearing from the organization as to where their struggles are.
Yeah, but you're going to tell me dirty laundry, and then I got to deal with it. I got to do something with it. Nobody likes to hear the bad stuff. So you were an executive vice president at Herman Miller, a very large corporation. So how did you do it? How did you change your thinking, or how do you help others change their thinking?
Well, the being humble and being open to influence is part of that cultural change. And if it's exemplified at the top, then others will be open through the rest of the organization. And so as a leader, you actually have to welcome the opportunity to hear from folks as to what their state of the operation is, and and their willingness to change. And then as a leader, my role becomes, how do I coach them and teach them to and facilitate their problem solving so they can improve the organization.
And also maybe not take things personally. I think sometimes leaders can do that. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Ray Muscat from the University of Michigan Tauber Institute for Global Operations. Everybody, we will be right back. Don't you go anywhere. Lots more good stuff coming.